Well, we're here in Bisbee, Arizona, and that's the building we always go to. They have a delicious coffee shop and pastries and such, and we just drive right up here to this huge parking lot and park up here and then tour the town. You can see the rig. I can hear the girls barking, but that building there is kind of a unique place. Lots of unique little shops in there, restaurant, and a coffee bar that serves great food and great drinks. So we're just going to wander up here and go up this winding road through Bisbee. A lot of buildings here in Bisbee are historic and still in use. They have some pretty unique 60s style shops, to say the least. Downtown Bisbee is full of unique shops and buildings as it just kind of snakes up this little canyon. There's a lot of history in this old mining town, and it's a good thing to just take your time wandering through the different levels of streets. Here's the old Bisbee Library. Kind of reminds me of libraries I knew growing up as a child in my small hometown. After climbing up the stairs to the library entrance, there's areas like this where you can sit and look over the streets of Bisbee. There's an interesting thing down there. They've got some skeletons trying to escape. Here you can look up the hill above the town and see the many levels of streets and alleys that go through this little gorge here in Bisbee. All types of buildings from the 1800s to close to the 20th century. And we'll just bend way out here and look up the street. The street doesn't come to life until about 11, I think. Here's the stairs that go up from street level to the library. And that's the other side with the balcony overlooking the street down below. They've got water bowls all over for the dogs. This seems to be a dog-friendly town. There's looking up another section of the town, and on top of that hill is a giant B for Bisbee. You can see there's all kinds of architecture here in this town over the many hundreds of years it's been in existence. Okay, it's time to go back down to ground level and continue my exploration of Bisbee, Arizona. Before we get down to the street level, let's take a look at this. This is the Copper Queen Library that we're at, and this is a little history of the building. Looks like it had some tumultuous times in the 1800s, to say the least. This is quite the town. Okay, well, let's get downstairs. One thing I find very interesting about Bisbee is it's like you've been thrown back into the 60s. You'd think this was a hippies commune. It is something else. They've made some of their alleyways into little secret baristos where you can get off the main drag and just enjoy a quiet time. This place has interesting stores. It's just interesting to see their window displays, let alone go inside and see their larger varieties. But if you want something a little different, Bisbee's the place to find it. There's a unique place, Object Limited. This is one of those places that has a lot of odd artifacts, you might say, depending on your age. And there's buildings here that are always getting changed refurbished and taken care of. Here's an old Harley Davidson. Pretty amazing. You'll see things in Bisbee you won't see anywhere else. He's got quite a collection of Harleys and other old motorcycles. All types of art stores, department stores, clothing stores, antique stores. Like I say, you could spend a day easily going through this town. Looking back down from where we came at the coffee shop, there's just amazing types of architecture, stores, storefronts. It's just truly a step back in time. There's even stores down every alley you come across. And there's different levels. And they have the sign here on one of the buildings. The Bisbee district has the best year-round climate on Earth. So they say. Here's an interesting building. A booze and bed bar. Booze below, beds above. You can see down below by that board sign they have a water bowl for the dogs. You go over here. This is the Bisbee Grand Hotel. Oh, if this building could speak, the stories it could tell of our past. Just fascinating. Here we have the Captain's Suite. Kind of makes me think of the old black and white movie, a favorite of mine, The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. If you're interested in aromatherapy, crystals, anything like that out of the ordinary, you'll find it in Bisbee. Now we'll continue up here around the bend as the road snakes its way up the canyon. Here we are at the Bisbee Social Club. It says when the red light is on, we're open. I wonder if this was a speakeasy a couple decades ago. Very interesting. Growing up in the 50s, we used to love, as a family, going downtown and seeing all the Christmas window exhibits. Great memories of a childhood in the 50s. Nowadays, everything is locked up because you just can't trust society anymore. The lack of law and order. You wonder if it'll ever be back the way it was. If we can go back to that time. Thank God I lived in it. I enjoyed it. I just feel sorry for those who will never know that. It's kind of sad, but I see many, many more vacant buildings, vacant offices, and graffiti in this town than I saw 2 years ago. It's just a reflection of the society. Here's a alleyway with stairs going up and up and up to upper levels, as you can see. This town is just a maze to explore. This is how community events and coming attractions is advertised in the town of Bisbee, the old-fashioned way. Here's the Bisbee movie theater. I always thought that was interesting with the Beatles doing their H-E-L-P, like on their album. I'll see if I can go into that later. Right now, there's a candy shop right behind me. And it's got some delicious looking pastries. And cookies. There's some pretty unique shops indeed, like I said, in every way. And over there, across the street, we have Zed's Zombie Ranch. I don't see any zombies in the windows. Maybe they're all asleep. Okay, this is one building I've wanted to go in all the time I've come here. It's the Inn at Castle Rock, bed and breakfast. Let's go check it out.
Welcome to the Inn at Castle Rock. We're looking at the Apache Spring well. It was a mine shaft, but they struck water, so it turned it into a well. But the US Cavalry came through these mountains in 1877, and they were looking for water. The Apache Indians had a spring here. Two of the guys in the cavalry knew the green tinge around the spring meant there's gold and copper in these mountains. So they came back, they started digging. So there's 18 feet of water there, and then a shaft that goes under the mountain.
This is one of the quirky little alleyways between streets as you go up the canyon here. It's all artwork on the wall all the way up to the next street.
Yeah.
This is just a little bit of the art wall in this little alleyway going up to the next street. It's one way to add art everywhere. This is why you want to explore Bisbee besides the main drag. Get out, spend a couple hours just wandering down all the streets. At one time they even had an inside zoo here with flying squirrels that was open at nighttime when they're most active in the natural habitat. But they were all taken elsewhere in 2011. They even have a doctor here in this aisleway that has a surgery room. I wonder if those lights mean good or bad things. This is yet another little place right off the sidewalk through the town of Bisbee. You can pull off, relax, get a little hot mocha or something. And it's even got a waterfall here. And then there's a path that goes up around that rock, and I see a yellow sign that says beware of Sasquatch. And if you can look up there close enough, you'll see there's something up there behind that tree. You can zoom in on him. He blends right in. This is the old American Legion building here in Bisbee, now Earl's Bar, with peanuts on the floor. Motorcycles hanging on the wall. Upstairs deck. Stage for music. I'm really exploring Bisbee, I think, for the first time. Sticking my head in all the doors. Well, let's continue. Here's fair warning when you come into the bar. Okay, I'm going up another flight of stairs in this little narrow alley to the next level. Huh, this will get your heart pumping. Whoa, can you see that guy up there? This is how you get around in Bisbee. It's either there, so you walk up the long, narrow, steep alleyways. Hope that dog doesn't come after me. Every year in Bisbee, sometime in October, they have their annual 1,000-step competition, where apparently you have to climb every one of these stairs in the town. And I tell you, this is a short one, and I'm already winded. Well, we'll find out what the payoff is at the top of the stairs. Whew, I'm walking up these stairs with my nose almost touching the steps so I don't fall backwards all the way down to street level. Oh boy. Oh, I got up here to this flat and turned around and it still goes up. I thought I was at the top. But this is an interesting home up here on the cliff. Something else. This view will give you some idea of how far up from the street level we've climbed on stairs alone. That's down there where the coffee shop is with the banner, and our vehicle is to the right. I don't know if that's the gentleman's Aussie that was barking like crazy or my dogs I hear from here. Whew, this thing still goes up. I wonder where it's going to end and how I'm going to get down. Oh well, it's a day of exploring. Well, I got to the top of the stairs and now it's still climbing. Where the heck am I going to end up at? Here's part of Bisbee going up to RV'N here. The old Catholic church and some other buildings. Whew. You can see we've climbed way up here. There's homes even higher than this. True pioneer cabins, that's for sure. Looks like there could be a couple mines up there too. I think this big rock I climbed up to is part of the Bisbee peace wall behind it. So now I gotta find my way down. Shit. Okay, I'm not taking those stairs down. I'm just gonna follow this, an old brick roadway, probably laid when the town was built. I'm gonna carefully go down here and find my way back to the main drag. These narrow roads remind me a lot of Japan, because that's another very tightly condensed country, towns, precincts, and you need a little toy vehicle to drive to get up those roads. And one of those cars would just be simple on these trails. Well, I hear water, like a waterfall, so I'm going to see if I can find my way to that. Looks like it's over here. Oh, shoot, this is private property. Oh yeah. Man, somebody's really gone to extremes here and built quite an ornate little nature preserve with ponds and waterfalls coming out of them. You see it continues down there. Nice. Little Garden of Eden right in the middle of town. Alright, well I guess I better find another way out of here. Well, I hope you're enjoying this walking tour of Bisbee, Arizona. I'm sticking my head into more places than I ever have in the past, just because I want to see what I've missed before. So you guys are along for the walk. It's like walking down some of these streets. You're walking down at a 45-degree angle, leaning backwards to stand upright. And as always, around every bend, there's art throughout this town. Everywhere. Just very unique artistic expressions everywhere throughout the town. Alleyways, passageways, everywhere. It takes time to explore this town. There's so much packed in such a small area. Well, it looks like the only way down is stairs. Ugh. You can see where the original brick walkways or roads still exist. They've just been an area cemented over. Holy crap, now we gotta go down almost as many, if not more, stairs than we climbed up. Shit. Going down. Everybody has their own little private patios here. Whether it's on their rooftops, where they've made like sand gardens, or they've used up every space they can to expand their living quarters. Very creative. A very creative use of pipe for handrails and such. Well, I made it down to street level again. Here's some more window displays about the suffragettes. And we just continue through town. Hope you guys are enjoying this walking tour of Bisbee, Arizona. There's an old J.C. Penney store across the street. That's interesting. Okay, now we're in the place right out of the Twilight Zone. Let's go take a look. Here we have the original Bisbee Breakfast Club. Some of the modern appliances here in Lowel, Arizona. Here's a Harley-Davidson store in Lowel, Arizona. I'd go in if I was into motorcycles. Almost bought one once. Crashed and burned. Had to have my legs sewed up, and I said, okay, that's it. That's all the motorcycling I plan on doing. Well, let's just take a look at this town. Like I said, it's something out of Twilight Zone, as if everybody one day just disappeared from town, left everything as it was. Here's an interesting old pickup. Real interesting antique store of different odds and ends here. You even have a display of spurs and that for sale. So if you lost your spur, you can buy another one, or a pair. This is something else. Well, I tell you, going through an antique store, seeing things that you grew up with that are now considered antique, boy, if that don't make you feel old, nothing will. Here's the Broken Spoke Taxi Cab Company, the fastest in Lowell when it's moving. And there's another one, an old car. I like this sign over here on the wall. Maybe this is where all the people went. The aliens came down finally. Took them all away. Let's walk over here. It's starting to show its age since the last time I was down here. That might be the answer to where everyone went in Lowell one day. Aliens came, gathered them up, and took them away. And here's another vehicle, the Broken Spoke Saloon, full of, looks like wood for the winter. Let's just continue down the road here. Holy cow, they got a Sprouse Wrights company here. 5 and dime. It looks like 5 dime and 15-cent store. Price is going up. Here's an old gas station in Lowell selling Gulf. And let's see what the gas was when I was a kid. 47 cents a gallon. Yep, that sounds about right. Hard to believe it's $5-6 a gallon now. Same gas. I was taught in grade school that manufacturing and all that would make things cheaper. Well, they lied to us. It's made everything more expensive. There's another Harley-Davidson store here in Lowell, and a Broken Spoke Saloon car. Broken Spoke Saloon must have been a big deal here. And next to that's a karate dojo. And next to that's the Sprouse Wrights 5, 10, 15 cent store. Let's go down here to this old Texaco station, see what that's like. This is Lowel, which is just below Bisbee. The huge old copper mine is in between this town and Bisbee. And it's like people one day just decided to leave. There's no Greyhound bus here. And there's an old police station that looks like it came right out of Mayberry with Barney Fife. There's the old gas station. We'll come back up that way and check the cost of Texaco. There's the old scenic cruiser. Instead of Greyhound, this one's called the Strayhound. I remember my grandma getting on that up in the Tacoma bus depot, going all the way back east to visit relatives. Old Greyhound station in Lowell, Arizona. Oh, and right down here is the Lowell Police. I expect Barney Fife to come out of that office anytime. Here's the Biker Patrol. Deputy Barney Fife. Broken Spoke Saloon. Sturgis, South Dakota, Daytona, Florida, Laconia, New Hampshire, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Here's some interesting signs. And over here, politicians scrape shit from boots